The alien girl was ignored until a human stepped in. Lyra sat at the far end of the space station's school cafeteria. The chairs around her were empty, and the usual buzz of voices passed over her like wind through trees. Most of the students were humans or larger alien species. Lyra's small size and soft green skin made her different. She had big round eyes and thin arms that looked almost fragile next to the stronger, taller aliens. Every day she sat alone, quietly eating, trying not to draw attention. The aliens around her did not understand her ways. Her species, called the Virini, were gentle and quiet. They were not strong, not loud, and they did not compete in the games or fights that were common in the station. The larger aliens often called her useless or whispered cruel things when she passed. Humans usually avoided the Virini too. Most thought it was safer to stay with strong students rather than risk being seen with the weak ones. Lyra tried not to cry. She had learned early that crying in public only gave the others more reason to tease. She stared at her food and took slow bites. She did not speak unless someone asked her a question, and even then her voice was soft. In the school hallways, students pushed past her, and teachers often did not notice. It was as if she was invisible. She hated that. She wanted to be seen, wanted someone to care. On this day, a human boy named Adam walked into the cafeteria. Adam was average in size, with brown hair that fell over his forehead and bright blue eyes. He had a curious nature, and he often watched what was happening around him more than he joined in. Today, he noticed Lyra sitting alone. At first, he thought she might be shy, but as he looked closer, he saw the marks on her arms and bruises hidden under her sleeves. Someone had pushed her the day before. Someone had laughed at her in front of the whole class. Adam's heart tightened. He did not like bullies. He did not like seeing anyone hurt. He sat at a table nearby. Not too close, but close enough to watch. Lyra did not notice him at first. She ate quietly, her small hands trembling slightly as she held her tray. Adam could see how careful she was, how she made sure not to spill anything, how she kept her eyes down. After a few minutes, Adam decided to move closer. He picked up his tray and walked to the table next to hers. Lyra looked up quickly, her big eyes showing surprise. No one had ever sat near her, voluntarily. Adam said softly. His voice was calm and friendly. My name is Adam. Vera blinked. She was not sure what to say. No one had ever spoken to her without mocking her. Lyra, she said in a small voice. Do you want to sit with me? Adam asked. Lyra hesitated. She had learned not to trust easily, but something in Adam's eyes felt different. He did not look mean or curious like the others. He did not look at her as if she was strange. He looked like someone who actually wanted to know her. She nodded slightly. Adam smiled, and she felt a warmth she had not felt in a long time. They ate quietly at first. Adam did not try to talk too much, and Lyra appreciated that. He gave her space, but also showed that he wanted to be there. After a while he asked, Why do you always sit alone? Lyra looked down at her food. She did not want to tell everything, but she felt she could tell him a little. Other students, they don't like us, she said. They say we are weak. They laugh at me. Adam frowned. He did not like hearing that. He had friends who were human, and some were strong. But he could not understand why anyone would laugh at someone for being quiet or small. That's not fair, he said simply. You shouldn't be treated like that. Lyra felt a small smile. No one had ever said that to her. She looked at Adam, trying to believe it. I don't know what to do, she admitted. Adam leaned back in his chair. He thought for a moment. Maybe you don't have to do anything, he said. Maybe it is just them. Maybe they are the problem. Lyra's eyes widened. She had never thought of it like that. She had always blamed herself. She had always thought she must be too small, too weak, too strange. Adam's words were simple, but they felt strong. He did not try to fix her. He only gave her a small spark of hope, Over the next few days, Adam continued to sit with her. Sometimes they talked about simple things like the food or the stars they could see from the space station windows. Lyra found herself laughing quietly once or twice. No one laughed at her when Adam was there. In fact, some students looked at them strangely, wondering why a human would spend time with a small alien no one liked. One day while they were walking to class, a group of aliens blocked their path. They were taller, stronger, and clearly wanted to intimidate Lyra. One of them, a tall male named Goric, smirked at her. "What are you doing with him?" Goric said. "Don't you know humans are weak? He will get hurt if he stays with you." Lyra felt her stomach twist. She wanted to shrink away, to disappear. But Adam stepped forward, standing slightly in front of her. His eyes were steady, his hands relaxed but ready, if needed. "Leave her alone, Adam," said clearly. Goric laughed. "What? You will cry for her?" he sneered. Adam did not flinch. "No," he said simply. "I will just stand here, and I will not leave." The group of aliens looked at each other. They had not expected the human to act so calmly. They were used to humans avoiding trouble. They were used to humans being afraid. Adam was neither. After a tense moment, the aliens moved aside. Goric threw a final glare at Lyra and muttered something under his breath, but they left. Lyra's hands trembled, but she felt a new kind of strength. Someone had stood up for her. Someone had not laughed at her. As they walked to class, Adam spoke quietly. "You don't have to be afraid all the time," he said. "You can be yourself." Lyra nodded. She wanted to believe him. She wanted to believe that maybe things could change. Maybe, with someone like Adam there, she could start to feel like she belonged. Over the next few weeks, their friendship grew. They would meet in quiet corners of the school or at the observation deck where they could watch the stars. Lyra told Adam about her planet, her people, and how they were always overlooked. Adam listened carefully. He did not interrupt. He asked questions, trying to understand. Other students started noticing. Some were curious, some were still cruel. But Lyra felt less alone. She started raising her head more often in the hallways. She started speaking up in small ways in class. Adam's presence gave her courage. One day during a lesson about space history, a human student whispered a joke at Lyra. She felt the familiar sting of fear. But Adam put his hand gently on her shoulder. She looked at him and he nodded. She did not answer the joke. She did not cry. She simply looked forward, feeling the warmth of support behind her. For the first time, Lyra realized that maybe being different was not a curse. Maybe it was just a part of who she was. And maybe, just maybe, someone could see her, really see her, and care. That evening, as Lyra walked back to her small quarters on the station, she felt a lightness in her steps. She thought about Adam, about the courage he showed, and about the small ways her world was beginning to change. She knew there would still be challenges, but she also knew that she was not invisible anymore. For the first time in a long time, Lyra smiled. Not the quick, scared smile she gave when no one was watching, but a real smile, quiet but strong. She whispered to herself, "Maybe this is the start of something new." And somewhere in the shadows of the station, the stars above looked brighter, as if they too noticed the small alien girl who was no longer a lone dot. After the cafeteria incident, Lyra felt a small spark of hope inside her. For the first time, she believed that someone cared about her. Adam continued to sit with her at lunch and walk with her between classes. Their conversations were simple, about schoolwork, food, and the stars outside the station. But to Lyra, they were everything. She felt seen. She felt important. One morning as they walked to class, Adam noticed that some students were whispering and pointing at them. A group of tall aliens was gathered near the doors, and their eyes followed Lyra everywhere. Adam slowed down and glanced at her. "Don't worry," he said softly. "We'll go a little faster today." Lyra nodded. trying to hide the nervous tremble in her hands. She had learned to expect cruelty from the stronger aliens. They loved to watch the weaker ones panic. She had been pushed, laughed at, and ignored for so long that her heart now beat faster even at small signs of attention. As they passed the aliens, one of them, a girl named Veka, stepped forward. Veka was larger than Lyra, with long purple skin and sharp eyes. "Why are you always with him?" Veka said in a low voice. "He is human. Humans do not belong with the weak. You should know your place." Lyra's throat tightened. She wanted to shrink, to say nothing, but Adam stepped in front of her again. His hand rested gently on her shoulder, steadying her. "He can sit with anyone he wants," Adam said calmly. "Lyra is not weak. She is my friend. You don't get to decide who she spends time with." Veka laughed, sharp and cruel. "Your voice matters." Lyra's hands shook, but she raised her head. She answered the teacher's question confidently. The teacher nodded, surprised at her clear voice. Some of the whispering stopped. The other students looked at her differently. She felt a small sense of power she had never experienced before. After school, Lyra and Adam sat in the training yard watching students practice physical exercises. Lyra had never joined. She was too small, too weak, and she knew she would be laughed at. But today, she did not feel completely invisible. She leaned against Adam and watched quietly. "Do you ever feel scared?" Lyra asked. Adam nodded. "All the time," he admitted. "But fear doesn't stop me from doing what's right. It just reminds me I have to be careful." Lyra thought about that. She had always let fear control her. She had hidden, run away, and stayed silent. Maybe she could try something different. Maybe she could face the fear slowly, step by step. The next morning she walked into class with her head a little higher. She noticed the same group of aliens watching her, and she felt the familiar fear. But Adam was there, and she took a deep breath. She smiled slightly. She would not run today. She would not hide. During lunch, a group of younger students approached Lyra. They were timid, unsure. "Can we sit with you?" one asked. Lyra blinked in surprise. She had never been asked before. Adam smiled beside her. Lyra nodded. For the first time, she shared her table with others. They talked quietly, laughing softly. It felt strange but wonderful. She felt a small sense of belonging. Later, in the hallway, Veka and her group blocked the way again. But this time Lyra did not shrink. She stood behind Adam, her small hands clenched. Adam spoke first. "Step aside. We are walking through." Veka sneered. "You think you can stop us? Just a human and a tiny alien?" Adam's eyes met hers. "We can, and we will." Lyra felt a strength inside her. She was not just standing behind Adam. She was standing with him. She felt her small body hold firm. The bullies looked surprised. No one had ever dared to face them together. Veka muttered something angry and moved aside. Lyra felt her chest rise. She had not spoken much, but her presence mattered. She realized that courage was not just for the strong. It could belong to anyone, even someone small like her. After the encounter, Lyra and Adam sat on the observation deck again. The stars were bright tonight. Lyra felt calm. "Thank you," she whispered. Adam smiled. "No need to thank me. I like seeing you safe." She laughed softly. "You make me feel different, stronger maybe." "That is good," Adam said. "You deserve to feel strong." For the next few days, the small acts of courage continued. Lyra spoke more in class, smiled at other students, and even helped a younger Varini student who was crying after being pushed. She realized that kindness and courage could spread. She realized that humans were not just strong in body, but in heart. One afternoon, a new challenge appeared. The station announced a competition between species, a series of tests that combined speed, strength, and strategy. Lyra's group, the Vareni, were expected to lose. Other students laughed and whispered that they would be last. Lyra felt fear rise in her chest. She had never participated in such tests. She was small and she knew the larger aliens would have no mercy. But Adam was beside her. "We will try," he said. "We do not need to win. We just need to do our best." Lyra nodded. She realized that courage was not always about winning. Sometimes it was about showing up, even when everyone expected failure. The day of the competition, the Verony team walked onto the arena. Other species snickered and whispered. Lyra felt her stomach twist. But Adam gave her a small nod. She felt a warmth spread through her chest. She could do this. She could face it. The first test began. It was a race across the station corridors. Lyra ran as fast as her legs could carry her. She stumbled, almost fell, but Adam was beside her, steady and encouraging. "Keep going," he said. "I am right here." The Verony did not win, but they did better than expected. Lyra felt proud. She had faced fear and survived. She had tried, and that mattered more than victory. After the competition, some students whispered differently. They had seen her courage. They had seen Adam support slowly. The idea that Lyra was invisible began to change. She felt hope. She felt possibility. She realized that humans, like Adam, could change the world in small but powerful ways. That evening, Lyra stood at her window, looking at the stars. She felt different. She felt that maybe, with friendship, courage, and determination, she could step out of the shadow of fear and isolation. She did not know what challenges would come next, but she knew one thing: she was not alone. And with Adam by her side, she felt that the universe was a little less cold, a little brighter, and full of possibilities she had never imagined. After the competition, Lyra's confidence grew, but so did the attention from the bullies. They did not like seeing her change. They did not like seeing a human stand with her. Veka and her group had started watching Lyra more closely, whispering among themselves and planning small ways to humiliate her. One morning, as Lyra walked into the school courtyard, she noticed a crowd of students gathering near the training yard. Curiosity mixed with fear. She walked carefully, keeping her head low, but Adam came up beside her. "Stay close," he whispered. "We don't know what they are planning." Lyra nodded. Her heart beat fast. She had learned to expect cruelty, but she had also learned that she was not completely alone anymore. Adam's presence gave her courage. Together they walked toward the crowd. As they got closer, the crowd parted slightly. In the center stood Veka, Corin, and two other tall aliens. They had lined up some obstacles, crude but dangerous looking. The taller students laughed and pointed. One of them shouted, "Let's see if the weak Vereni can even make it through." "The human friend won't help much either." Lyra's stomach turned. The obstacle course was meant to be a joke, but it could hurt her. She glanced at Adam. He put his hand gently on hers. "We will do it together," he said. "You can trust me." Lyra nodded. She felt fear, but she also felt a spark of determination. She had learned from Adam that courage was not the absence of fear, but acting despite it. She took a deep breath. The first challenge was a narrow balance beam. It swayed slightly high above the ground. Corin laughed. "Fall and we will laugh louder." Lyra stepped onto the beam. Her legs shook. She almost slipped, but Adam caught her hand. "Steady," he said. "One step at a time." She focused on each step. She did not look down. She did not listen to the laughter. Slowly, carefully, she crossed the beam. The crowd murmured. Some students whispered in surprise. Even a few humans looked impressed. Next was a wall climb. The wall was taller than Lyra's height, with rough grips that seemed almost impossible for someone small. She felt her stomach twist. She could not climb alone. She looked at Adam. "I will help," Adam said. He gave her a hand, steady and strong. Together, they climbed. When she slipped, He steadied her. When she felt too tired to hold on, he encouraged her. Step by step, they reached the top. At the top, Lyra took a deep breath. She had done it. She had faced the challenge with Adam by her side. She felt a thrill of pride. She realized something important. She could be brave, not alone, but together with someone she trusted. The final challenge was a run across uneven ground with small barriers. It was meant to tire them, to make them stumble. The taller aliens ran easily, laughing as they leaped. Lyra's legs felt small and weak, but she did not give up. Adam ran beside her, matching her pace, encouraging her with every step. "You are doing great," he said. "Keep going." Lyra pushed herself. She stumbled once, almost fell, but she did not stop. She got back up and ran. Finally, they crossed the finish line together. The crowd was quiet for a moment. Then murmurs spread. No one had expected the Verini girl to finish, and no one had expected the human to run with her, helping her through every obstacle. Veka and her group scowled. They could not show respect, but their pride had been wounded. The bullies left, whispering angrily, but they did not touch Lyra. She had won in a small way. She had faced fear and succeeded. She looked at Adam, her eyes bright. "Thank you," she whispered. He smiled. "You did it yourself," he said. "I just helped a little." Over the next few days, word of the event spread across the school. Some students started treating Lyra differently. They still whispered, but now some offered small gestures of kindness. A younger alien named Moran smiled at her in the hallway. A human girl named Ellie waved. Lyra realized that respect could grow slowly through small acts of courage and support. But not all attention was good. Veka and Karin were planning something more dangerous. They wanted to humiliate Lyra in front of everyone, to show that she was still weak. Lyra felt a tension in her chest. She knew it would come, but she also knew she was not alone. Adam had shown her that humans could stand firm. Together, they could face anything. One evening, as Lyra was walking back to her quarters, she noticed shadows following her. She quickened her steps. Suddenly, Curran and two other aliens stepped in front of her path. "Going somewhere, Verini?" Curran said, smirking. "We want to have some fun." Lyra's heart pounded. She felt fear rise, the old fear that had gripped her for years. Was she wanted to run, to hide? But then she heard a voice. "Leave her alone." Adam stepped from behind, his eyes steady, his posture firm. He did not look afraid. He had no weapon, but his presence was enough. "Why should we?" Corin sneered. "Because I said so," Adam said simply. Corin laughed. "And what? You think a human can stop us?" Adam did not move, did not flinch. "I don't need to fight," he said. "We just won't back down." Lyra felt a courage rise inside her. She stood slightly forward, her small hands clenched. She realized she did not need to be afraid if Adam was with her. Together, they were stronger than the bullies' threats. The bullies looked around. A few students had gathered, watching silently. No one moved, but the attention made the bullies hesitate. They had expected the usual cowardice, the usual fear. They had not expected humans to stand firm. Finally, Veka stepped forward. "Fine," she said, her voice sharp. "For now, but this is not over." With that, the bullies left, muttering threats under their breath. Lyra exhaled slowly. She felt her legs shake, but she also felt something new, relief mixed with pride. She had faced danger, and she had survived. Adam looked at her. "You were amazing," he said. Lyra shook her head. "No, you were amazing," she said. "You didn't leave me." He smiled. "We are a team," he said. Over the next few days, Lyra began noticing small changes. Younger students smiled at her more openly. Teachers began to watch more carefully for bullying. Lyra still felt fear sometimes, But she had learned that courage was not about never being afraid. It was about acting even when afraid. She started helping other Vareni students who were being teased. She found that she could lend support, just like Adam had done for her. She felt proud, not because she was strong, but because she was kind and brave. She realized that humans and friendship could create change in small but important ways. One afternoon, Adam and Lyra were walking to the observation deck. Lyra looked at him and said quietly, "I think they are scared of you." Adam laughed softly. "Maybe," he said. "Or maybe they just don't like seeing someone stand up for what is right." Lyra nodded. She understood. Courage could challenge cruelty. Friendship could change fear. She felt a warmth inside her. She was no longer invisible. She was seen. And with Adam's support, she believed she could face anything. That night, as she looked out at the stars, Lyra whispered softly to herself, "I can do this. I will not hide anymore." The stars shone brightly above the station, silent witnesses to a small alien girl who was learning courage, and a human boy who had shown her that even the smallest voice could stand against fear. The days after the confrontation with Corin and Veka were tense. Lyra walked through the hallways with her head a little higher, but she could feel eyes following her. Some students whispered, some stared openly, and some avoided her altogether. It was clear that not everyone liked her courage, but she had Adam. She had someone who stood beside her no matter what. One morning, as she and Adam walked to class, they noticed a group of alien students blocking the main corridor. It was Veka, Corin, and a few of their strongest friends. Their faces were hard, and their voices carried malice. "Back again?" Veka said, her tone sharp. "We told you, Vareni." "You are nothing. You should stay out of our way." Adam stepped in front of Lyra, as he had before. "We are not leaving," he said calmly. "You cannot stop us by being mean." Corin laughed. "And what will you do? Humans are weak. We can push you aside easily." Adam looked at him steadily. "We don't need to fight. We just won't move. And we won't let you hurt anyone else." Lyra felt a surge of pride. She had always been small, always been afraid. But standing here beside Adam, she felt strong. She did not speak, but she did not shrink either. She realized that courage was contagious. It could flow from one person to another. The bullies hesitated. They had expected fear, not resistance. For the first time, they did not know what to do. Murmurs spread among the other students watching. Even the teachers paused, sensing the tension in the hall. Veka stepped closer. "This is not over," she said. "We will find a way to make you regret this." Adam did not move. He did not flinch. "We will face it if it comes, and we will not be afraid." Finally, the group moved aside. Lyra and Adam walked through the corridor together, heads held high. The students around them whispered and stared, but no one dared to stop them. Lyra felt something inside her shift. She realized she could survive threats as long as she had courage and someone to stand with her. After class, Lyra and Adam went to the observation deck. It had become their safe place, where they could talk without interruption. Lyra leaned against the window and watched the stars. "Do you think they will try something worse?" she asked. Adam nodded slowly. "Maybe. But fear is not the same as weakness. We can face challenges without giving up." Lyra thought about that. She had spent her life avoiding challenges, hiding from others, and feeling powerless. Now, with Adam's support, she realized that power was not always about strength. Sometimes it was about heart. Over the next week, small changes began to happen across the school. Some human students started standing near Lyra in the hallways, simply by being present. They did not speak much, but their presence sent a message. The bullies noticed that the human support was growing. They had counted on isolation to weaken Lyra, but it was failing. One afternoon, Lyra was helping a younger Verini student who had dropped her books in a hallway. Some aliens laughed, pointing at them. Lyra froze, unsure what to do, but Adam appeared beside her. "Ignore them," he said softly. "We do not need to fight. Just help her and walk away." Together, they helped the young Verini gather the books. Lyra realized that courage was not always about confrontation. Sometimes, it was about quiet action, about protecting others without needing attention. The next day, the station announced a new set of tests, a strategic challenge that required teams to work together to solve problems. Each species had to form a team. The Verini were expected to fail again. The other students whispered and laughed, betting against them. Lyra felt fear rise. She had never been confident in such situations, but Adam gave her a reassuring smile. "We will do our best," he said. "That is all anyone can do." The Verini team prepared. Lyra, Adam, and a few other human students worked quietly together. They studied the instructions carefully, communicated clearly, and encouraged each other. The alien students who had mocked them started to notice that the Verini team was organized and calm. During the challenge, the Verini faced traps and obstacles that seemed impossible to solve. Lyra felt panic, but Adam whispered instructions calmly, helping her focus. Step by step, they solved the puzzles, coordinated as a team, and completed tasks that many thought they could not. The crowd watched in silence, some shocked, some annoyed. The bullies could not understand how a small alien girl and a few humans could succeed where larger, stronger aliens had struggled. Lyra felt pride and exhilaration. She realized that intelligence, courage, and teamwork could outweigh raw strength. After the challenge, the Verini team was praised. Teachers and students recognized their effort. Lyra looked at Adam, her eyes shining. "We did it," she whispered. "We tried," Adam said. "And that is what counts." The bullies glared. Their pride was hurt, and they did not know how to respond. For the first time, Lyra felt the balance shifting. She was no longer just a small, ignored alien. She had a place. She had strength. She had courage. The next few days were calmer. The bullies still whispered and glared, but they no longer approached Lyra openly. They had learned that humans like Adam could not be intimidated easily. Lyra noticed that the presence of human students beside her gave her protection she had never experienced before. One evening, Lyra and Adam returned to the observation deck. Lyra leaned against the glass, looking at the stars. "Thank you," she said softly, "for everything." Adam smiled. "You did this yourself," he said. "I only helped you see it." Lyra nodded. She thought about how much had changed in such a short time. She had gone from being invisible, ignored, and afraid to being respected, brave, and hopeful. The stars outside seemed brighter tonight, as if reflecting the small victories she had achieved. "Do you think they will ever stop trying to hurt me?" she asked. Adam shook his head gently. "Maybe not completely," he said, "but you now know how to stand. You have courage. You have friends. You will survive." Lyra smiled. She had learned something important. Fear could exist, but it did not have to control her. Courage could grow from support, friendship, and belief in oneself. She felt stronger than ever. The next week, Lyra started speaking more in class. She answered questions confidently. She helped other Verini students when needed. She noticed that some humans now approached her openly, offering simple words of kindness. She realized that standing up for herself, with Adam by her side, had changed the way others saw her. One afternoon, Veka and Corin approached the group again, but this time they were careful. They did not attack directly. Instead, they whispered insults, hoping to provoke a reaction. Lyra felt the old fear rise, but she remembered Adam's lessons. Courage is not absence of fear. It is action despite fear. She did not respond. She kept walking, calm and steady. Adam walked beside her together. They ignored the taunts. Their silence spoke louder than words. The bullies realized that intimidation was no longer effective. They muttered angrily and moved away. Lyra felt a sense of victory. She had faced fear, worked with others, and found courage she never knew she had. She looked at Adam. "I feel different," she said quietly. "Good different?" he asked. "Yes," Lyra said. "Strong different. Maybe happy different." Adam smiled. "That is exactly what it is." From that day on, Lyra began to see the world differently. She realized that humans, with their courage, kindness, and determination, could make a real difference. She realized that being small or weak was not the end. What mattered was standing up, supporting others, and believing in oneself. As the station lights flickered and the stars shone through the observation windows, Lyra felt hope. She had survived the bullying, faced fear, and begun to grow. And with Adam by her side, she knew she could face whatever challenges came next. Lyra no longer felt invisible. She no longer felt weak. She was learning that being different was not a curse. It could be a strength. And she knew that humans like Adam had shown her that the smallest actions of courage could change everything. The days after the last challenge felt different for Leo. She no longer walked with her head down. Her small steps were steady. Her eyes held confidence, and her soft voice began to speak louder in class. The other students had started noticing. Some were still curious. Some whispered, but now there were smiles and nods too. She had begun to earn respect, not by changing who she was, but by standing up for herself and accepting help from those who truly cared. Adam stayed close. He was her quiet protector and her guide. Wherever they went, other humans began to follow his example. Small gestures like walking beside the smaller or weaker students, refusing to laugh at jokes, and offering words of support started to change the culture of the school little by little. One morning, the station announced a new event. A cooperative simulation where species had to work together to survive a space crisis scenario. The simulation was tough, requiring speed, strategy, and trust. The Virini were paired with humans and a few aliens who had shown no cruelty. The bullies, Veka and Korin, were placed on a different team. Lyra felt a mixture of excitement and fear. This was another test, another chance to prove herself. But now she was not alone. Adam and the other humans were with her, and she felt courage swell inside her chest. "Remember," Adam said quietly as they prepared, "it's not about winning against others. It's about doing our best and supporting each other. We can handle anything if we stay calm and work together." Lyra nodded. She took a deep breath and felt the familiar warmth of support. Together they entered the simulation arena. It was a complex maze of corridors, panels, and obstacles. Adam stayed close, watching her back. "You've got this," he said. "I believe in you." Lyra's confidence grew with each step. She guided the team, solved traps, and helped others. They moved together step by step, navigating the maze with intelligence and trust. The bullies' team struggled. Veka and Korin tried to take shortcuts and push others, but their arrogance caused mistakes. The Byrinian human team, calm and united, gained ground steadily. Finally, the simulation ended. The scoreboard displayed results. Lyra's team had completed all stages efficiently, showing teamwork, strategy, and cooperation. They had not been the fastest, but they had avoided major mistakes and worked together flawlessly. Cheers and applause echoed. Even some of the skeptical teachers nodded in approval. Lyra felt her chest swell. She had done it. She had faced fear, worked with others, and succeeded. More than that, she realized something even greater. She had found her place. She was not invisible. She was not weak. She belonged. Adam smiled at her. "See," he said softly, "you are stronger than you think. And you are never alone." Lyra looked around. Younger students, both human and alien, were now smiling at her openly. Some came to thank her for helping them in the past weeks. She realized that courage and kindness could inspire others. A small action could create a ripple. and now she was part of that ripple. Vega and Corin were silent, staring at the scoreboard. They had been beaten, not just in the simulation, but by teamwork, courage, and the human spirit. They could no longer intimidate Lyra. She had grown beyond their cruelty. Later that evening, Lyra and Adam walked on the observation deck, looking at the stars. The station was quiet, peaceful, and the glow of planets reflected softly through the glass. "Do you think they will leave me alone now?" Lyra asked. Adam shook his head gently. "Maybe not completely," he said, "but they have learned something important. You are not someone to ignore or push around. And neither am I. Courage can change things, even in small ways." Lyra smiled. She thought about the journey she had taken, from hiding, being afraid, and feeling invisible to standing tall, facing challenges, and helping others. She had learned that strength was not just in size or power. It was in heart, determination, and unity. "I feel different," she said. "I feel strong. And happy." Adam smiled. "Good. You should feel that. You earned it. And you will keep earning it every day by standing for what is right." The next day at school, Lyra walked into the hallways with her head held high. She saw students nodding, smiling, and quietly respecting her. Younger Varani students followed her example, walking a little taller. The bully still whispered behind her, but no one dared approach openly. The balance had shifted. Lyra was no longer at the bottom. She had earned a place of respect. In class, she spoke confidently. She answered questions without fear. She helped students who struggled. She felt the warmth of friendship, and she gave it in return. Adam sat beside her, quietly supporting her as always. Together, they inspired small changes across the station school. One afternoon, Lyra noticed a young alien student being pushed in the hall. Without hesitation, she stepped forward. Adam followed. Together, they guided the student away from the bullies, offering words of comfort. Lyra realized that helping others gave her courage as much as courage had helped her. The bullies watched, frustrated. They could no longer intimidate her. They could not undo the respect she had earned. Lyra had grown beyond fear, beyond invisibility, beyond cruelty. She had found her strength, her voice, and her place. As the weeks passed, Lyra became a symbol of hope. She showed that even the smallest, quietest, or weakest could make a difference with courage and support. Humans like Adam became respected not for their size or weapons, but for their heart, their willingness to stand up for others, and their refusal to ignore injustice. One evening, Lyra and Adam stood on the observation deck together. The stars shone brightly, distant and calm, like silent witnesses to the small victories that had changed lives. Lyra felt at peace. She had faced fear, found friendship, and discovered her own strength. She had learned that courage was not loud or violent. It was steady, quiet, and unwavering. "Thank you," she said softly, looking at Adam. He shook his head. "No," he said. "Thank you for letting me be your friend. You taught me something too. That courage can come from anyone, and kindness can change the world." Lyra smiled. She realized he was right. Humans had power, not in weapons or size, but in heart. And she, a small alien girl who had once been ignored, had learned that heart and courage could be stronger than fear. The stars outside glimmered, and the space station felt brighter, warmer, and alive. Lyra looked forward, no longer afraid of challenges, no longer hiding. She had learned to stand tall, to trust, and to act with courage. She was no longer invisible. She was seen. She was strong, and she knew that, together with her human friends, she could face anything the universe would throw at her. The story of the alien girl who was ignored until a human stepped in ended not with a battle or a loud victory, but with something far greater: respect, courage, friendship, and hope. Lyra had found her place in a world that had once overlooked her, and she had grown into someone who could inspire others to do the same. And in the quiet glow of the stars, Lyra smiled, feeling alive, strong, and free. Your friend, a tiny little Varenni. Do you not see how everyone ignores her? Even humans think she is nothing. Adam did not smile. He kept his eyes on Veka. I see her, he said simply, and that is enough for me. Other students had stopped to watch, but few humans whispered among themselves, looking worried. No one had ever seen a human stand up so openly for a Varenni. It was unusual. It was brave. Veka's group stepped aside, muttering angrily, but they did not touch Lyra. She felt her chest rise and fall, trying to calm the pounding of her heart. For the first time, she realized that courage was not always loud or violent. Sometimes it was simply refusing to back down. After class, Adam and Lyra went to the observation deck, a quiet place with large windows where students could look out at the stars. Lyra loved this place. It felt peaceful. She leaned against the glass and looked at the distant planets, thinking about how small her problems were in comparison. Do you think they will bother us again? She asked softly. Maybe, Adam said honestly. But if they do, we will face them. Together. Lyra smiled. She felt a warmth in her chest. She wanted to trust him completely. But a small voice inside reminded her that others had let her down before. She pushed that voice aside. She wanted to believe in friendship. She wanted to believe in humans. Over the next week, Lyra started to notice small changes. Other Varenni students began to smile at her in the hallways. A few younger humans gave her nods of recognition instead of avoiding her. The small gestures felt enormous. She realized that Adam's courage inspired others. It gave them hope, too. One afternoon, during a history lesson, a group of aliens whispered about her again. One of them, a boy named Corin, said, "Why does she even speak? She has nothing to say." Lyra wanted to hide her face, but Adam leaned over and whispered, "Don't listen." Lights flickered, alarms sounded, and the first challenge began. Reach the control panels and solve the system puzzles before time ran out. The bullies tried to intimidate the other teams at the start, shouting and moving quickly. But Lyra's team stayed calm. Adam guided them, giving advice and encouragement. Lyra stepped up to one of the control panels. The interface was strange and complicated. Her small fingers trembled, but she remembered how fear did not mean weakness. She focused and worked through the steps. Slowly, steadily, she solved the puzzle. "Good job," Adam whispered. "Keep going." Lyra smiled faintly. She felt the thrill of success. The other students around her cheered quietly. Some human students who had only watched before started offering support. The energy of teamwork grew stronger. The next challenge required moving heavy objects to clear paths. Lyra could not lift the heavier panels alone. Adam stood beside her. "We will do this together," he said. They pushed, lifted, and maneuvered the obstacles side by side. Other students joined in, inspired by their determination. Step by step, the path cleared. Veka and Corin's team was moving faster at first, but they worked with cruelty and arrogance, pushing each other harshly and ignoring those who struggled. Lyra watched and realized that teamwork and kindness were more powerful than strength alone. Her team stayed focused, encouraging each other, helping anyone who stumbled. The final stage was a maze with hidden traps. The alarms beeped, lights flashed red, and pressure plates threatened to reset progress. Lyra felt her heart race. She remembered all the times she had been ignored, pushed, and laughed at. She remembered the fear she had carried for years. But now she had something more: courage, friendship, and Adam's quiet support. She moved carefully but confidently, guiding a younger Varenni student along with her.